Hey.
Arsenal.
Yeah, sir. What are you doing?
What you doing,
What's up,
ese?
FONZI?
What you doing, bruh?
No. What's up, everybody? Welcome to Content is Profit Monday edition. What's up, Fonz?
Welcome.
How you doing?
Sleepy.
You're always sleepy, man. Do we have to change the time? It's not like we do this at 5 a.m.
I was thinking about that. Maybe doing them a little bit earlier.
I think we missed that window when we started the bigger project.
Maybe. We'll see.
Yeah. All my calls are at like 2 p.m.
Well, we can do it at 3.
Sure. You struggle getting here at 4.
But I get here at 4 because we record at 4.
All right.
And I get here like at 2, so it's not like a struggle. What's up, guys? Welcome. It's Monday. Arsenal won this weekend. It was a great weekend.
Nobody cares, man. Nobody cares. Only you.
Everybody cares.
Let us know in the comments, or
Whether you
if you're listening to this, send us a DM. Do you care about Arsenal? I don't think so.
I need to do some push-ups.
Fonz is gonna do some put. By the way, we're recording, just so you know. Fonz is recording. Anyways, if you're tuning in live, what's up? How you doing? How's your weekend? I had a fun weekend. I kind of disconnected out of everything. You good? Now you're out of breath. You can't talk.
Trying to raise my levels of energy.
Should I do this on my own today?
No.
Okay.
Let's do it. I think it's a good topic. I just had a Red Bull. Red Bull puts me to sleep. I cannot drink Red Bull.
Fun fact. I mean, for real. The other day you had a 12-ounce Red Bull and fell asleep 15 minutes after that.
Yeah, it's not.
I don't
not
get
good.
it.
Me neither.
All right.
All right, cool.
You ready?
Let's move on.
Wow. We cannot use this on the real episode.
Yeah, no, this is getting cut. Oh, we got somebody watching in here. Say hi. Drop in the comments.
Fonz is still
Peace
tired
emoji.
from the live stream that we had the other day.
I'm tired from yeah. That was great. Were you part of the giveaway? If you missed that, make sure you're here on the next one. We're going to try to do those every either 60 or 90 days. We're going to come up with some good, nice prizes for you. So,
What was for ya?
For ya. So if you want some, make sure you let us know in the comments.
All right. Ready?
Almost. I am pulling
My goodness. It's been 40 minutes, Fonzie, that we've been trying to get this going.
I know.
today.
I'm just trying to search where do we have the thing?
On the left-hand side, you have the table of contents. It's there.
I know. Oh, this is not.
Yes, that's it.
I gotta reload it.
Ay.
Ay. There we go. It's not gonna be 269, but there we go.
Good.
Content misconception. Do you really need content? Huh? Do you really need content? That's a great question to ask. All right, are we ready?
Sure.
Whoa. Yo.
Yo, what happened?
Hey,
I'm Luis.
Enrique Iglesias went wild.
Haven't heard before.
Wait,
Okay, you
pause
good
it.
or what?
Yeah, dude,
Okay.
you just press that.
We've got some.
No.
Dude. Okay. Ready? Okay. You're saying you're ready and you keep talking.
All right.
We've got
Hey,
some fresh
I'm
new
Luis.
young
And I'm
talent doing some
Luis.
things
And you're
that I
listening
know
to the
you
Content
haven't
is
heard
Profit
before.
podcast.
Where we talk about entrepreneurship, mindset, and of course, how to turn your content into profit.
But most importantly, we are here to have a good time with you. So go to contentsprofit.com to get started today and join the community.
That is right. Go check it out. Although, I feel like we got hacked in the weekend, and when
We did not go hacked.
We did not get hacked?
No. Didn't you read my text?
Yeah, I know, but I went on the page and it was like some Arab letters in there. It was weird.
It's a different server. That's why we needed to move the link to something else.
All right,
You didn't listen.
figure
You
it out.
don't pay attention.
Either way, go check out the page, contentsprofit.com.
Yeah.
And if something about us popped up in there, and we're gonna deliver massive value to you, so make sure you subscribe, put your email in there and say submit. Yes, join the community.
Oh boy! All right, Fonzie, what are we talking about today?
Today we're talking about a very cool topic.
Hold on. Before we actually start talking about the very cool topic, I need you to wake up. Okay?
I'm awake. I'm
Good?
100% awake.
Say, I got this.
I got this.
I got energy.
I got energy.
We got this.
Okay, let's
It's gonna
keep
be
going.
awesome.
So today we're talking about we're exploring the question: do you really need content? Very interesting. And this is why we're exploring this question. We actually had a call with one of our clients, and he was asking a few questions about, hey, I've been trying content for a while, right? I'm not sure if this is the thing to do. So we start investigating. Okay, well, tell us a little bit more about your business. What are your goals? What are you doing to drive traffic, etc. Right? And we're gonna go there throughout the conversation. We're gonna explore a little bit more of that. But I want to hear your thoughts first. What do you think about content? Do people need content?
We sell content, so yes, absolutely, 100%.
What is the misconception here?
So here's the misconception that we see often is, depending on the level that people come to us, right? So there's different levels of beliefs around content, depending on the business level or whatever. Most people that we talk to, they think if they post content, whether that's one piece or they post consistently, and they are very passive after posting, clients will come to them because content is out.
So they pretty much think on the if I build it, they will come type of mindset, which is if I create content, I'm gonna find clients. Pretty much.
Yes, it's that tends to be, I believe, that's very common.
Yeah.
When people start tackling content.
Why do you think that is? Do they have that they have that beliefs like that? So I have a thought on that.
I mean, I think part of it is they haven't really tried much with content, probably at that point. Also, all the conversations around content or creators or different things like that, like the mainstream conversation about content, kind of goes around the followers and the sponsorships and the millions of subscribers probably on YouTube and the millions of dollars or the thousands of dollars that these people might be getting on sponsorships, for example. But
I'm going to bring it to the B2B world. And I think it's because the message is oversimplified. I'm going to give you an example. We've been to plenty of events where plenty of people say, you need to publish. But that's it. That's all they say. They say, you need to publish. Like, publish and you're going to grow, right? Like, publish for this amount of time and you're going to grow your business.
Yeah.
And I think that's true. You need to publish for the long term. It's a long-term game. But I think the message is oversimplified because I think a lot of people might just take that very literal and just think, okay, if I publish, if I put myself out there,
yeah,
people are going to come my way and they will want to do business. Where we've clearly discovered that it's not like that. Like you mentioned, right? Like it becomes a very passive thing. Sure, it becomes proactive, the act of creating content. But once you put it out there, then it becomes a very passive thing. The acquisition of clients, of customers.
Yeah. And there's a clear division, right, between being a creator and a business, right? And what happens in between, right? If you're a business, how do you actually start creating to drive business? Or if you're a creator, how do you actually create to drive business, right? Same way, both ways. But in the middle, right, like what you said, like that oversimplified message, I remember Ross was like, hey, publish for a year and all your problems will be solved.
Your life will change. Which
your life will change.
I do see the internal change.
Can I finish my idea?
Yeah, but this is a parenthesis, a tangent. I see the inner. I just wanted to add.
You
this.
said yes, and
I wanted to add this little bookmark in there. I do see the inner change over a year without the money results, right? Without the business growth side of things. Cool.
That's not proper podcast etiquette, Fonzie. Just so you know.
Tangent close. Your turn.
Okay.
Wait, what's not proper podcast etiquette?
Interrupting in the middle of an idea.
It's totally proper brother etiquette.
Anyway, so that's where I was going, right? Like immediately after you hear something like that, right? Like people think, oh, perfect. Maybe they create a story in their heads of why is my life gonna change, or where is my life gonna go, right? And if we go to an event that maybe our goal is to find new business or how to increase sales, right? When we hear those type of comments, maybe the frame that we put in that comment into is not the right one, right? Like for us, we've been publishing now consistently on the show for 2 years. Before the show, we did a couple seasons of 45 Live, which was consistent, not for a year, but our life did change. in many ways, right? And the first change is internal on all the monsters that you face when you start publishing, right? All the things that you learn, all the leveling upping. Is that how you say it? Leveling upping.
I doubt it, but sounds good.
All the personal and business growth that happens whenever you need to do your research, whenever you need to connect with people, whenever you need to have conversations with amazing entrepreneurs, if that's the case, right? And there's a lot of things that happened that it will help to increase business in a way, but it's not directly correlated to just publishing.
Yeah, like that you can get business just by publishing, but it's going to be in a way lucky, which I feel is what happens to us with 45 Live. We had the right person watching at the right time, and we were consistent, we were in front of him, but then that turned into an opportunity, right? But it doesn't give you that recurring kind of like numbers that like, okay, cool, if I'm talking to X amount of people, I know X amount of people are going to convert into a conversation, for example.
I also think there's an element of there's this bridge of belief that happens when people are like so focused on numbers, right? That they're like, okay, well, I need to see this direct correlation, right? And we've talked about this many times, and also we've talked about it with many of the clients, right? We have these clients that some of them are, hey, I don't really know, or I don't really want to see the connection. Like, I just want to create content because I know it's fulfilling for me. I connect with incredible people. I want to move forward. I develop, and also it's fitting my system that I have on the back end set up to do this, right? But it's not like, hey, if I publish this video, how many sales is that's going to happen? And there's the other spectrum of it where it's like, if you publish this video, then how do I see it? Like, how do I see if I invest $1, I'm going to get $3, right?
Yeah, which is kind of like the conversation that we were having.
It's a conversation that we had earlier today, right? And in some ways, right, we've chosen to work with people that is not an issue, right? In a way, like for over the last 2 years, we've been trying to identify who's the right client for the service that we offer.
Yeah, we work mostly with the people that do not directly attribute the earnings to the content going out, but they understand the value and they know why they need to be publishing consistently.
Yeah. And in some cases, right, we have to create that path between content and profit. And it happened to us whenever we were in that moment of doubt with the show, right? Do you remember that?
With the show?
With our show, right? You came to me and be like, hey, like, how do I, like, I don't see it.
No.
I don't see the connection between this and the sales, right? And we went back and be like,
I've always been a believer, man.
Sure. Do not lie. Accept it in public, please.
I mean, maybe I was like, yeah.
Nothing to be ashamed.
I'm not ashamed.
Okay.
I'm never ashamed.
But there was a moment where, we were publishing consistently, right? A lot of people, well, every sales had to go through a funnel on this thing, and you have to track it and the stats and so on, right? And we had to look back at the show, at the guests, at the names that we were having there, and then we looked at the clients that we were having, at the clients that we were able to serve, and we're like, how did they get there? And it was a direct correlation with the show at some degree. The show was a very high quality point of contact in that process. Maybe a guest that came to the show referred us to that person that came through. And can it be scalable? Unto what point? We're trying to discover unto what point that model can be scalable. But certainly it allows us to grab a ton of traction, build systems, build processes, hire a team, right? So
there are different ways to grow the business. And I think this is kind of like where we landed here, that is content is complementary. Right? Complementary to, to the business that you're growing. And now you might be asking yourself, well, if it's complementary, like, why do I need it? Right? Can I not do content and still grow my business? What do you think?
I think you can, but I think the world is moving in that direction where if you do not create, if you don't have a presence, a consistent presence, if you don't develop a personality as a entrepreneur, as a business owner, or even as a company, and you don't put value up there, it's becoming the standard. So you're going to disappear over time, and then people are not going to trust you, right? We talk about this concept, content is art, authority, relevancy, and trust. So the more we put out there, the more we publish, the more we share the value, the more we show the behind the scenes, the more we do giveaways like Friday, for example, right? people are going to trust. And a good example is after the giveaway on Friday, which was the intent was not to sell at all. The intent was to legit be Oprah and give stuff away, right? Which was super awesome. And I think we're going to be doing that more regularly. But we had a very engaged session. It was an hour and a half. We had a lot of people. I think like the stream had more than 300 comments, and it was just a lot of fun. And I wake up the next day and I check like my Facebook Messenger, and I have a few messages asking about the products, asking about like, I'm interested in this thing that you guys talked about. I'm interested in this thing that you guys gave away. Like, how do I get it? And I think part of it is like that. How come you can create an experience where there's value, when you can be consistent, where you can have fun, right?
Yeah.
Aligning with your company values, then that will translate into business, right? So the trust factor there is massive, right? Because if there's no straight connection, right? If we say like, hey, we're gonna do this giveaway, and for X amount of dollars that we invest in these prizes that we're gonna give away, we're gonna sell this many. I don't think there's a clear connection there, but there is a connection there.
Yeah.
If you know what I mean.
I know what you mean.
You know what you mean?
I know what you mean. This is how I see it. Like you said, sure, you can grow the business without having the content. There's plenty of people that have done it. But when you look at now how people are making decisions on their purchasing journey, when they're about to buy something, a lot of it is they're doing their own research.
Mhm.
They want social proof. They want to trust the brands that they're investing in. How are you going to develop that trust? How are you going to develop that relationship with the customer before they even give you their first dollar, right? I mean, don't get me wrong. Sure, like you could have a very nailed down funnel with a great sales letter that, can be converting, 3% of the people that are coming in there.
Yeah.
And you're going to be running that positively. And that's awesome. But at the same time, some of those people are probably going to go and search you somewhere before making the decision just to see who you are. What's your message? What are you sharing? And if you have no content, guess what? Like, your probabilities of converting that audience might go down significantly. But if you have content, if you're giving out value, you're delivering, you're building this trust, guess what? Those are extra touch points. Yeah. You're building even more rapport with the person that's now watching your content, and they will probably go and make a positive decision about buying your content. Or even if they don't buy, guess what? Now you're top of mind. So if you keep publishing consistently, you keep getting in front of them, you stay top of mind until they become part of that 3% of people that are buying now, right? Yeah. Our good friend Amanda Holmes says that only 3% of people are ready to make a decision to buy today. 30% is within like 30 days. And then like the rest is like 60 days plus or 90 day plus, something like that, right? Yeah. So if only 3% is ready to make a decision today, what are we going to do with the other percentage of people, right? We got to stay on top of it. We got to stay top of mind. And how do we do that? We need to consistently put our message out there and deliver the value. So again, to answer that question, if it's complimentary, do I need content to sell? I think the answer is no, you can sell without the content, but I think your probabilities of selling better and selling to better clients and onboard people that are, aligned with you and your business is going to go up if you do publish consistently. And I mean, at the end of the day, there's going to be less friction too, right? We talk content is profit. Our first like slogan of the podcast was the pursuing the frictionless sale, right? And that's what's it about by publishing content. When you publish content and you're giving people upfront what they want, and you are removing, false beliefs, you're removing some of those questions that they may have, some of the objections that they may have up front, guess what? You're going to be removing the friction at the time of having the conversation to turn somebody into your customer, or how say your family member.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, and there's obviously different types of content, obviously, right? So let's say on video, on the podcast, right? Or the way that we create this podcast is not only an asset to explore ideas, connect with people, share our thoughts from topics like this ones, interview amazing people that we can learn and our audience or community can learn from. There's a lot of stuff there. I mean, we've used the content of the show. For example, we make a connection or we have a lead or example, one of our newest clients, right? We sent them an episode of like, hey, maybe these 3 interviews can help you in your next stage outside of content. And that was massive value for them. Guess what? That translates into them staying with us longer, right? So there's different ways that we can look at content on how that can help in your pipeline. We've been helping another one with, hey, we're about to start an outbound strategy. And part of that outbound strategy is sending people videos and content of value up front before any asks.
So
right?
let's address that. Let's pre-frame that with a question, right? Like at the beginning of the conversation, we said that a lot of people have the mindset of, if I build it, they will come. Meaning, if I publish the content, people are gonna come. But we need traffic at the end of the day, right? We need, sure, you might have a few followers in there, but only a percentage of those people are actually gonna see your message. And you need to be tapping into new audiences, right? Connecting with new people in order to, expose them to your world so they can eventually, some of them, become your clients. So let's turn this conversation from creating content and then being passive and expecting people to come to you to being proactive, right? Using the content, like you said, for outreach, or creating the content and then doing a proactive activity to tap into these audiences, right?
Yeah. I think a good exercise to do will be sit down and assess, right? What is the type of content that you are creating right now, if you are creating? And then like, how am I using that content, for example, right? So write down all the ideas. I'm posting it on social. I'm using these assets to run paid media and run ads, right? I'm sending it to my prospect. I'm sending it to my clients. I'm sharing it to my email list. Like, what are those things that you're doing, right? We talk about the publishing pyramid and those elements, right? From resources at the top to cadence, to consistency, to your message, right? What are those things that we're doing? And then you're going to find out that there might be some stuff that you might not be doing at the moment, right? For example, I assured you that the vast majority is not sending content to their prospects, right? It's not reaching out to people that follow them, be like, hey, for example, right? Instagram followers, right? Hey, thank you so much for the follow. We're so excited that you're here, part of the community. What attracted you that made you connect? They're going to say something, right? Oh, thank you so much. Are you interested in sales? Here are a few episodes that you can listen to, right? And that will create the authority, relevancy, and trust with you if they listen to the podcast. But again, it's a point of contact that you can use. And then they're going to see you in the feed. And then they're going to see the podcast. And then they're going to see different things. And if we explore the problem and we explain the problem well enough, then they can reach back out and have that conversation. It's happened in the past. We definitely have to do a better job at advertising or marketing the problem that we solve, because the show's function is a little bit different than that. But that's something that we can improve, right?
Yeah.
And we realize that.
But for us, it's very organic too. It's like we try to build these relationships.
Absolutely.
And then we share, okay, yeah, this is actually what we do.
Exactly. So that's another way, right? Like of doing it 100%, right? And we chose to do that because we were in a spot where we needed to talk to the decision makers as fast as possible, right?
And I mean, let's be honest, like we cannot onboard, even if 10 people come today and they're like, I want your service today, we cannot onboard all 10 at the same time.
Yeah.
Right? We pretty much have to take in on like week by week. So that too serves us because we are looking for those more personal one-on-one relationships.
Yeah.
And we're using the content as a medium to build those relationships.
I remember when we were at a startup weekend, right? Remember that guy that had the CBD booth?
Yeah.
Straight sales guy, like straight like used car sales guy, right? Like selling CBD like crazy.
Yeah.
And during lunch,
what you gonna do like that? The used sales cars.
That's
sales cars. Used car salesman.
Yeah, that's definitely
that's very stereotypical of you, my friend.
Well, that's why I'm saying it, because it's stereotypical. Anyways,
I know. I was messing with
you. Like he didn't care if you were interested about CBD or not interested about CBD. He was still gonna try to sell you, right? And I remember during lunch, he was asking like, "What do you guys do?" And we're explaining, we have a content production company, and we create daily content, right? That's the easy version. Yeah. And then he's like, "Oh, awesome, sell me."
I remember that.
And we were in this table and we're like 6 different people from like 6 different businesses, and one of the first questions we asked him, like, "Hey, are you currently creating content?" And he's like, "No." Sounds good, brother. Our conversation is over. We're not even gonna go there. And he got pretty upset. He was pretty upset that we weren't even trying to sell him. But here's the lesson there. Like for us, we're not gonna try to convince somebody that content is the way to go. If they're not creating content, they're way too far away from the solution that we offer.
I mean, the amount of doubts that they would come in with to the product, like it would be way too much. Like they'll probably leave pretty early on.
Pretty early, right? Because that's not their core belief, right? Versus somebody that already, let's say, has been publishing for 3 years, right? They have a show, they have a system on the back end that they can connect the content. They already believe that content is moving the needle forward in many ways.
Content is profit.
The content is profit, right? And then you plug in a team like ours, for example, that can save them a ton of time. We already have different frameworks, different structures, different ways that you can use content that is plug and play. In 2 weeks, you're ready to rock and roll. That's going to save them a ton of time and a lot of at that level. That's the problem that we're solving for that type of client, right?
Resources and capacity.
Resources and capacity, right? So, and I was eavesdropping into the conversation with a client today, right? And he said this phrase, like, I do believe that content is profit, but, and I'm like, no, you don't believe that content is profit because this is happening, right? Like these conversations, and that's okay. That's happening. Totally okay. Right. And then we sat down and we're like, okay, how do we actually, how do we paint the picture? Like, what are the things that we can say? What are the stories that we can tell to do this? But for that specific individual, I think he's too far still from our ideal client. And we're going to find that, right? But the cool thing is that we can now identify, and I hope you are identifying that too, within your content, within the conversations that you're having. Are they close to my solution or are they too far? And if they're too far, what are the things that I can put in front of them that I can start changing that story that they have in their heads to be able to provide more value?
Yeah, but going back to a client that we're talking to, right? He produces a lot of content, actually. He creates a lot of content, but is very passive then on the side of bringing new audiences towards his content, right? And let's discuss a few of these ways. How can now, let's say you're now creating content consistently, you believe content is profit, but now your attitude has changed. After listening to today's episode, you're like, you know what? It's not just about creating, it's about finding those audiences and bringing them towards my content so I can help educate them and get them into my world and build art, right? Authority, relevancy, and trust. So you decide to do that, and now you're thinking, okay, well, how can I bring the audience towards my content? Here are 3 ways that you can do that. I think first one that is talked about a lot in funnel land is paid media, right? It is a way you can run ads towards your content, and then you can retarget people, make them go through your funnels, blah, blah, blah. We're not going to go very technical on that. The next one, which is one that we've been dabbling more into, which I personally I think is one of the most powerful. If you don't have the capital to run paid media, or even if you might have the capital to run paid media, but you might not have the risk, tolerance to actually run paid media, you need to do outreach. You need to go sniper style, find the people that seem like a good prospect to you, and then connect with them. Don't spam them, right? And don't be like Broseph. So if you're wondering who's Broseph, go like 3 episodes back and listen to that episode, the DM horror story.
Yeah.
But be personable, right? Talk to these people, actually engage with them, and figure out whether they are a good fit or not for you to help them, or at least to evolve the conversation into something else. And let me tell you, as soon as you start the conversation, what is the first thing they're going to do? As soon as they see your name pop in their inbox,
they're going to go back to your profiles and they're going to see if you're actually active. I mean, we have this crazy story with another one of our clients, right? They're very heavy on LinkedIn. And what was the percentage that they increased? The
15%.
15% increase in initial connections and follows for his profile, right? And they do an outbound strategy. And the only thing that changed was consistent publishing. And
before, there was no content whatsoever.
Yeah. And that's very powerful, right? Because, I mean, if you increase that 15%, I mean, if they know their numbers and there's a clear connection there, that's directly correlated with the results on the back end. Now, again, this is just publishing is because people see that that's active and it's moving. Now, again, we built authority, relevancy, and trust, and inspires a forward movement into that relationship.
Yeah, absolutely. So we got two so far: paid media, outreach, and then the third one would be OPA. OPA.
Opa!
We haven't talked about OPA in a while, right? Which is other people's audiences.
Yeah.
And guess what? You can tap into other people's audiences by guesting in somebody else's podcast. Maybe you can do a collaboration, where you guys do, a weekly Instagram live with somebody else. There's plenty of opportunities to collaborate nowadays.
Yeah.
You can be creative, honestly, but those are like the main three ways to tap into those new audiences. Which one are we doing right now?
No pay media.
No pay media.
OPA, we're about to start doing.
We're actually about to start doing pay media too for
For
the podcast.
podcast.
Yeah.
That's right. But today we're not.
Today we're not. As of this recording, we're not.
We're not.
As the video as the
As in 30
podcast
minutes
comes
ago, I
out.
sent the email to get the campaign going. Yeah.
As the podcast comes out, we might already be running paid ads. Maybe you even listen to the show
Because of paid
because
ads.
of the paid ads.
Yeah, but the one that we've been leaning very heavily into the connection with the business has been outbound.
Yeah.
Right. Has been outbound. And I remember when you came home and you're like, outbound is the way.
Outbound is the way.
Outbound is the way.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like the one thing that you need to make sure you're investing in there is your time, right?
Yeah.
And it is easy to get distracted with other things inside of your business, but then you gotta ask yourself which ones are the needle movers, right?
Yeah.
And,
And
I'm talking to myself right now, man, because I know I need to be even more consistent with this stuff.
Yeah. It's funny. This morning we were actually helping a team build one of those outbound flows. And this specific person has two different profiles: a personal one that's very heavy personal brand, and then they have the company side that's also very heavy. They've been going on for years now. And the initial thought for a new product that they're launching is they want to grab these audiences together with the email list that they have and run paid ads into a funnel, right? And one of the things that they never explored was the possibility that maybe that audience is not the ideal client for that product itself. So what we started to do was an outbound strategy where we qualify those people and see if we can get the conversation going right away to see where they sit. And what we discovered in like 30 minutes of doing this with one of the accounts is that the vast majority of the people that follow that account do not fall in the bucket of ideal clients. So what we're doing now, next stage, after this was with about 50 people that we saw, and out of the 50 people, about 30 did not qualify. So the next stage is, okay, can we run a test with about 100 people and send them through this conversation? Is different. Imagine, and the idea is to build rapport, build a relationship, provide something of value, and see how many translate into that. The idea is to get, again, connection between the content and profit, right? To make sure how many feed through, right, or move from the through that initial like conversation funnel that we have. And then whenever we get that number, it's going to give us an idea. Okay, well, out of 100 outreach, this is the result. Out of 1,000, out of 500, out of like 3,000, what should be the results, right? And I'm very interested to see what this test goes. But the cool part is the perception of the business owner that we're doing this with was like, oh my gosh, I thought every single follower there was the ideal client. And we found out that they're not. And again, what is the fastest path to cash? What is the fastest path to these conversations that I can identify my ideal person, right? Am I talking to the wrong group? Am I talking to the right audience? Am I sharing the right message to the wrong audience, right? And that's very important to find out. And I think outbound is a very powerful tool to do this.
All right, so let's conclude here. I'm gonna go real quick over what we talk about today, and then you give me your final thoughts. I'll give you my final thoughts. Good? Deal?
Game.
Deal. Game. All right. So first, we talk about, the content misconception, whether do you just need to publish and you will be successful and you will grow your business, right? We decided that other business task and not just complementary. I feel it's more like a maximizer of opportunities, if we put it that way, right? Then we kind of discuss a little bit on if content is complementary. Do we really need to build our business?
Our business.
Yeah, our business, the business, a business,
Mhm.
right? And we kind of went like, yeah, sure, you can build a business without content, but based on how people are buying today, is becoming the natural to actually have content, right? Build that trust. People are doing their research, their due diligence, and guess what? You need to outvalue everybody else in the marketplace. You will need to outcare the competition. I love that. That's from. Do you remember who that's from?
Gary V.
No, from George
From
Brand.
George Brand,
Yeah,
oh,
when
okay.
he came here, he was like, you don't need to compete with your competitors on like pricing and who gets more clients. He's like, you need to compete on outcarrying your competition. And I was like, ooh, I love that. I love that. And how do you show them that you can outcare them? By providing good quality content, right? And then the last point that we touched was how, after we got the content, how do we tap into these new audiences? And we had three different ways. Can you share them? See if you remember.
Paid media,
Pay media.
outbound,
How about?
and
Oh,
Opa!
I know, but that's right. There we go. You took notes. Good
Mentally.
job. Good job.
Good memory. I got a good memory.
All right. So, what's your conclusion after this conversation?
My conclusion is that there's many ways, right, to do this right. And the friction that we continue to see in any level, B2B, B2C, entrepreneurs, side hustlers, is that it can be overwhelming in many ways. So choose a path. My recommendation will be choose a path. What's the fastest path to cash? Like, how can you get into conversations the fastest way possible with your ideal client?
I was going to say rubber bank.
No.
Do not listen to this.
Yeah, do not listen to Fonzie. But what is that vehicle? For us, the show has been that platform because we create content, we build that art on the back, on the front end, but on the back end, we build the relationships with the people that we want to serve or we think that we want to serve. And the type of client that we thought we needed changed based on those conversations, right? And figure out a way to remove the friction from creating. I'm gonna give you a quick example. We're about to start working with a software company this week, and this is exactly what we've been talking about. We started conversations a few months ago, and they've been trying several times on figuring out a way to create that initial framework that can get them traction. And after trying for multiple times, we decided, and this is without us, they came back after the conversation because of the value that we provided, because of the content that we shared, because of the conversations and the time that we invested with them. They came back and be like, we're ready to work with you on deploying something like this. So it works. Like, it's been working with us. It is a little bit more longer term than maybe paid media, but we don't have the infrastructure on the back end to run paid media directly to a sales page, for example, right? So anyways, find the low friction to start creating and having those conversations as fast as possible.
Good stuff. My conclusion is that yes, content might be complementary, but if I'm being honest, it is a necessity, not in the sense of it's just gonna straight drive sales. Because as we discussed, sure, you need to be tapping into these audiences and being proactive and bringing people towards your content. But at the same time, is because content is such a good tool to build your frameworks, to filter your thoughts, right? Become the leader in the space, the authority.
Gather feedback.
Is such an underrated tool. People think it's just all about creativity and putting yourself out there for others to see you, but it can be used in so many other ways, right? Build strategic connections. Example of content's profit, right? So yes, for me, it is a necessity, even though it can be complementary. And at the end of the day, not many people understand how proactive you need to be still to reach these audiences, even after the content is created. And I think that's the biggest lesson today, right? If you take something out from today's conversation, is first ask yourself, am I creating art, authority, relevancy, and trust through my content? If the answer is yes, great. Then you need to ask yourself, am I proactively searching for these audiences so they can consume my content, so they can learn more about me? If the answer is no, well, then you know what you need to do. Either pay media, outreach, or
Opa!
right? Other people's audiences.
Yeah.
Right? If the answer is yes, then I would just invite you to think about how can we do this more effectively, or if you're just doing just fine, guess what? Just keep doing more of the same.
Yeah. Beware of shiny object. We've seen the behind the scenes of many companies, and very successful companies, not so many successful companies. But at the end of the day, it comes down to those three ideas and those three things that we're doing, and mixing and matching assets, right? Like it comes down to how are you comfortable creating, how are you comfortable connecting that with your business, right? So beware of shiny object. If you want to be part of the community and continue to have these conversations, go to containsprofit.com. Go to facebook.com/containsprofit. Come hang out.
Oh yeah, join the group.
Yeah, if you have questions, let us know. Send us a DM. We're happy to connect. We're happy to share what we've learned, share what we're doing.
You can find all the links at the bottom. Connect with us on Instagram.
Oh yeah.
And I think that's it.
That's it.
That was pretty good.
With that said, guys, thank you so much for tuning into the Contains Profit podcast. Go ahead and follow the show in your favorite channels and on social media at BIZBROS Co.
That is right. And if today we help you move one step closer towards your goal, please don't forget to share this episode and leave a 5-star review. See ya.
Bye, guys. Selfie time.
That was solid. Solid episodio.
Solid. All right, selfie time. Ready?
Wait, how do we
Oh, no, that's not it.
try again?
Try again. Let's do this.
All right.
What? All right, guys. Take care. Ciao.